Alrighty guys, well this is Heather and I am here to talk to you about the finalization of the intermittent fasting challenge. So things went pretty well. It was a little rough to start with, but as I got things figured out, it got a little bit better towards the end. So let's just jump right in there and talk about this. Quantity of food. I had to give this 5 stars, guys, because I could eat as much as I wanted. And whenever it was a feeding window time, I could eat what I wanted. So that actually, the quantity wise, was actually fine. So yes, the feeding window was narrowed, but in that 8-hour time frame when I could eat as much as I wanted. So that was kind of nice. I really was never hungry. So that was actually really, I was never hungry during that feeding window. That was nice. So if I wanted 2 bowls of soup, I had 2 bowls of soup. If I wanted to have salad and soup and a couple hours later have oatmeal and whatever, that was no problem at all. So quantity of food on intermittent fasting actually worked out just fine. Having to follow the 16-8 was a little bit difficult, but during that 8-hour fasting window, 8-hour feeding window, quantity of food was great. I could eat as much as I wanted to, so no problems. Next, quality of food. Again, 5 stars. It was absolutely, the quality of food was as good as or better than any other challenge that I've done so far, because there really were no limitations to the quality of the food. So if I wanted to have something that was a little bit saltier, no problem. There wasn't a restriction there. If I wanted to have potatoes instead of rice, or if I wanted to have vegetables instead of a starch, or it didn't matter the food that I was eating. I could have whatever kind of food I wanted. That was really nice, having no limitations. I did find that I would go back to the things that I'm familiar with, simply because I could have anything that I wanted. So I kind of fell back a little bit on having rice with vegetables pretty often. I really enjoy that, to be honest with you. Obviously I had salads all the time because I really enjoy that and it's good for you. But quality of food, yeah, I ate whatever I wanted to. If I'd wanted to have more smoothies, I could have had more smoothies. It wasn't a very convenient time frame for when I first get up in the at night to get ready for work. My husband could make me a smoothie, but then I couldn't drink it for like 4 hours till I got like past into the feeding window, and that was actually 5 hours. That didn't really work out very well. So I didn't have a whole lot of smoothies, which is fine because they're a fairly calorically dense food. But yeah, quality of food was good. I definitely could eat what I wanted to. I had oatmeal with fruit in it when I wanted to. I had whatever soups I wanted to have. There were a few times that I had naughtier type foods with my husband, like that had oils in them and stuff, or processed type foods, and that wasn't a restriction either. So quality of food was very good. I really was quite happy with being able to eat whatever type of food I wanted to eat. So that was pretty cool. I liked that. The effectiveness or the weight loss potential. I probably could have done a little bit better with this than I did. I ended up giving it a 2.5 stars, again, simply because if I hadn't gained weight versus 0.5 pounds weight loss, 1 pound, 2 pounds, whatever, per week averaged out, that kind of thing. So if I lost not quite 3 pounds, so I gave it 2.5 stars, and that's fine. Again, if you think about it over the long term, and this is not, yeah, these challenges are only 30 days, so they're kind of a quick challenge, to be honest with you, unless you hate what you're doing, in which case it seems like forever. But it's a fairly quick challenge, so you have to think long term whenever you do anything. And if I was to lose even half a pound a week over the course of an entire year, that's a decent amount of weight. And you'll have starts and stops and all that kind of stuff. But I did lose some weight. And so my weight does fluctuate a little bit, but I know when I'm eating healthy and I'm eating in a manner that works for my body, that I do tend to start losing a little bit of weight, and then I go off plan and do whatever. But in this case, the effectiveness, I do think this would be a long-term effective way of getting to a goal ideal body weight. I think that it would work. Ease of diet. I did give this 3 stars. If I hadn't figured out about a week before it was over, I probably would have given it maybe 1.5 stars, 2 stars. But I gave it 3 stars because I do think that it was relatively easy once I figured out that I needed to eat earlier in the day and stop eating earlier in the day. For some people, and this is the reason that I did it originally from midnight until 8 a.m. was because you kept hearing people saying online when they were talking about intermittent fasting that the best way to do is just skip breakfast. Don't eat until lunchtime. Okay, fine. That would put me eating at about midnight and stopping at 8 o'clock in the morning. But that really didn't work for me. I was hungry, like before it was time to eat, pretty much every day. So when I switched it to be 10 to 6, I could actually get up and eat within 3 or 4 hours of being awake, and that worked really well for me. So I really think that if I had done that the entire time, I would have probably given that 5 stars, because that actually worked out really well for me. I would highly suggest you guys, if you try this diet, that you do what you think is going to work best for your body. So make sure that if you are interested in eating early in the morning and you know yourself and you want to get up and you want to have a cup of tea and you want to, have some toast or whatever it is you want to do in the morning, that's your ritual and that's what you do, then do that. Or if you're the type that you could skip and not eat until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, then go for it. That's great, but that's not me. And that didn't work for me at all. So once I figured out how to make this work for me, it was much, much better. Sustainability. Okay, so I gave this 4 stars because I do think this is a highly sustainable way of eating. I'm not 100% sure if the 16-8 is absolutely necessary or if you could do 14-10 or 12-12, and I'm not sure how long of a fasting window you need to have in order to it to be the best thing for you in terms of health and well-being and weight loss and that kind of thing. That would be something that would need to be looked into. But in terms of sustainability, this would be something that I could definitely do. It would be a little bit of a struggle to get used to the switching back and forth from one week to the next. So if my schedule was a little more consistent, it would probably be a little bit easier. But it is kind of difficult to switch from 1 week where you're eating nights and 1 week where you're eating days and the times. And that was a little bit confusing and difficult, but it was mostly sustainable. I would definitely say that this would be something that I could do long term because I could eat as much as I wanted during a feeding window. I could eat whatever types of foods I wanted to. And so if you can just narrow your feeding window down, it's pretty sustainable. So overall, if you add them all the stars up and divide by 25, it gets not quite 80%, but 4 stars. Yeah, I would definitely suggest anybody that is interested in trying a feeding intermittent fasting type thing, that this would definitely be an option. I know that there's other ways to do that. You could do the whole thing where you don't eat for 2 days of the week and you eat for 5 days just as much as you want all the time whenever you want. I don't think I could do that. And there's other intermittent fasting plans that you could try, including where you have like juice only days or vegetables and juice only days. Those are obviously options too. Haven't tried anything like that, but I do think that that would be something that would be an option as well. So overall, 4 stars. It's a good diet. It's a good challenge. It was a good plan. I was able to stick with it almost 100% of the time. There were a few times that I ate outside of my feeding window simply because of like a birthday party for my son or something along those lines where it just didn't quite work out for me to not eat at a time that was convenient for other people. But for the most part, it worked out well. I enjoyed it. I would highly recommend you guys try it. And if you do try it, please let me know in the comments what you think and how it went for you, and if you were able to lose some weight and whether it was a challenge, and did you do the 16-8, and when did you have your 8-hour fasting or your feeding window? Because that to me was probably the biggest challenge of this diet, was figuring out when I was supposed to be eating for my body, when my body wanted to be eating. So that's it. That's another completion of another 30-day challenge. And the challenge that I'm going to do next, I think it's going to be kind of fun. So I'm going to work on that, and I will see you guys in the next 30 days.